Eastern on July 29th, 2026. It is just a few days short of the month of August, and we are back with not only our buddy Brandon, but up there at the top, he's known, he's loved, and he's back with us tonight in his very timing appropriate 76ers garb. Jay, how you doing? It's so good to have you back, man.
Man, it's good to be back, and it's good to be back not only just because of the subject matter, but it's just really great to see you guys again talk about a good topic. I'd have been remiss if I didn't come on. So thanks for having me back, guys.
So glad you made it. We knew last week that we wanted to have you on either Wednesday or Thursday, and we made it work early. So really excited to talk to you about that. That will be our opening topic once people start jumping in for just a little bit of a preview. That will be our opening topic. And then we'll get to the current game afterward. That game is still going on. This game feels like it's going to be going on until WTS tomorrow. But for the sanity of everybody,
it's going to be the 18-inning World Series.
For the sanity of everybody on this show and everybody watching, I pray that doesn't happen. So, but with that, we talked last week. Brandon, you, myself, and Rob talked last week about the hurry up and wait saga with regard to LeBron as a then free agent. You and I originally had thought he was going to Cleveland. I shifted a little bit last week to Miami. I don't remember I think you were still on Cleveland, but I don't quite remember. And he's not here, but credit to Rob. He was the only one of the three of us who I think really thought or mentioned thinking at any point that 76ers were legitimate. And that ended up being what happened. So I'll go to you, and then I'll go to our guest of honor up there, even though he's not a guest when it comes to this show. How shocked were you about this, and what do you think of it as a basketball fit?
You know, the first time I kind of started, feeling the momentum of the LeBron to Philly thing,
right,
was right toward actually really about a week and a half before he actually pulled the trigger, and that was when they said that Saquon Barkley was doing recruiting and trying to bring him in. So that was something that I was like, okay, now this might be a real possibility. I didn't think it was at first, even though I knew Philly was somewhere in those top 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah, they always had been involved, but like you, I wasn't really taking them seriously.
Yeah, I didn't really kind of like my antennas didn't go up until I heard that. And so, that was where I was like, okay, like now this has a possibility. And, as a basketball fit though, I'm not quite sure because I mean, you got Jaylen Brown. That's nice. You got Edgecombe, great young guy. Same thing with Maxey. But my biggest issue is just, the age of LeBron does matter. Regressing for LeBron is still better than 90% of the league.
Exactly.
But still, it's been noticeable the last season or two that he is regressing.
Yeah.
And Ben Rice, you're killing me. That's such a bad at bat with bases loaded. That's a terrible at bat.
That's like the polar opposite of what he did earlier when he hit a piss missile to the one part of the field where it wasn't a homer.
Well, that's the worst part is he got 2 fastballs to start the at bat and he fouled them off. He should have crushed both of them. He was just under him. So congratulations to the White Sox because they're gonna walk this game off. I don't know about the basketball fit just because you have 2 really great young guys, but you also have 2 older veterans. I should say 3. So it's going to be interesting to see how like the very young guys mesh with the older veterans, established veterans. But okay, Ali Sanchez, you can swing the bat whenever you feel like it. I'm sorry, I'm so pissed at this game. But like, it's annoying how something about that basketball fit doesn't sit right with me where it's like, LeBron there, when you see like the roster on the surface and you see that starting 5, it's phenomenal. It's just health-wise with Embiid, we know he's not going to be healthy because he never is. But we also know that, if he does play at least 50 games, that, you could have something good going there. So, even a regressing LeBron is not a bad thing when you have that much talent around him. And I think, I also think that that's also why when you start thinking about what Cleveland had and Miami had and those two had versus Philly had the best, starting unit to go along with, like, basically LeBron trying to get one more ring chasing kind of season.
Right, which I think is pretty much what that was.
Yeah, because I mean, you just look at it just on paper across the board. Philly's got the most talented group there, so
right.
It makes sense for LeBron. It makes sense. I don't know how much it makes sense for the Sixers necessarily. Like Jaylen Brown makes sense because he's in the prime of his career.
Yeah.
But and Embiid's just Embiid. He's just a cornerstone of the franchise, even without the injuries. But LeBron being there at 40 years old to mesh with the young guys is kind of like, I know he sees the potential in that, and I know that's like we're saying is why he's there. But it's just a weird fit. I want to see how well he meshes with the young guys. I definitely want to see. God, that's such a deflating inning. But that's Yankees baseball. I think that, they really can't have a bad year when that's the starting five, basically. So, you're still at that point. And also, they're doing all this to contend with the Knicks. That's another thing too. When you're bringing in Brown and LeBron with those young guys, and hopefully you get at least half a season out of Embiid, maybe. That is a roster, in my opinion, that can compete with the Knicks. So, I don't know how it's going to look until we actually see it. On paper, it doesn't seem like it's a match made in heaven. It just seems like it's a good logistical move for LeBron. But I don't know from the Sixers standpoint, like, we keep saying trust the process and, like, all that kind of stuff. And
did we miss something? Did we miss a little bit of a Taylor Swift style Easter egg there with what he said at that press conference?
I guess, but
I thought they were making too much of that, and now I'm like, oh, dang it.
I don't know, man. It's really tough to kind of put I know I said a lot about a lot of different subjects on the show. It's tough about this, that, and other thing, but like, it really is tough to pinpoint. It really is tough to pinpoint what they're just going to look like, because it makes sense when you look at the names on that roster. I don't know if it makes sense in the playing style. Like, LeBron has a way different style than Jaylen Brown, who has a way different style than Edgecombe and Maxey. So it's like,
right.
It's a lot of different playing styles trying to kind of come together here, and I don't know how that's all gonna work. I like what LeBron is doing, trying to get one last run in at a ring, but I don't know how much it's gonna really come together for the Sixers. This almost feels like it's gonna take a little bit of a feeling out process the first month or so of the season before we finally kind of see them start to work through it, So we'll see.
This is not a move that you're doing to win in July. Can I get the month right? November or December? This is a move you're making for March and April and so forth.
Yeah.
And of course, 9 minutes in, I'll actually let the man of the hour actually speak.
Yeah.
Jay, first of all, as a fan, your initial reaction when you found out to quote a former president of ours, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. When you originally heard, what was your initial reaction, and what do you think, both as a basketball fit, but I also just want to know, as a fan, what does this mean to you after following the Sixers for a couple years now?
Oh, I was jumping out of my skin. So, Scoop, you actually were one of the first people who told me that.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. You were. I was actually out on my carport in front of my apartment building.
Hang on, you were out on your cardboard? I don't know what that means.
Carport. Like
okay, I don't know what that is.
where the cars pull up in front of the building.
Oh, okay. Sounds pretty. I guess it was pretty straightforward. All right, go on.
Yeah. So you were among. I was outside talking to my sister. I was going nuts. Obviously, I think it's a fantastic thing for us. We are getting a much older and a LeBron that isn't like 2015 or 2012 type of LeBron.
Thank God it's over.
And
Shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
So
that's all right. We had no bullpen left anyway. We're going to Ryan Yarbrough. Of course, it's a loss.
Yeah. He used to be so good for us too.
He's the median for this bullpen this year. We got half this bullpen's better than him, and half this bullpen's worse than him.
If we didn't blow it there, one of the three of us would have to come into pitch.
Yeah, well, that's just such a shitty way to lose. Again, I know that. We're 11-4 in the last 15 or whatever. No, I guess 11-5 in the last 16 now. But it's just, and I'm not going to spend too long on this because I want to let you finish your point on LeBron. But just, it's so annoying because this bullpen is so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Friggin' Hyde, where you've got guys who should have been if they could have been available for it, should be in it or Cy Young conversations, or at least reliever of the year conversations. And then you've got other guys where I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, you should be on a roster somewhere at AA ball.
Yeah. Remember, I think I was the one who kept saying, it was can we trade Camilo Duvall, who did well tonight to his credit. He did well tonight,
and for what it's worth, I do know that Camilo Duvall has gotten trade interest, and he's somebody that I do know is on the block. But we'll get to. I'm going to ask Gil about the trade block after you finish your points.
Yeah. So when it comes to LeBron, look, yes, he is obviously, to say the least, a vet, and will be the vettiest of the vets on this team. I think he's going to step in and have a good leadership role with the team. And I do think that was something that was not lacking, but needed work. I still think Joel Embiid is a good guy.
There was room for improvement.
There was room for improvement, and I'm not saying that Joel Embiid isn't a good leader. There were times where there was mild conflict between him and Tyrese Maxey, when it came to Maxey's complaints about him not coming up to the meetings on time. It didn't seem to throw a huge wrench into the works of the team. If our performance against Boston showed that whatever problems that they had in that locker room clearly didn't affect the performance until we met into the Knicks. And of course, the Knicks are still the team to beat in the opinion.
Of course.
If you don't believe me on that, ask literally every Knicks fan who can't stop talking about us since we got LeBron James, which is fine. The prevailing sentiment among Knicks fandom, and I'm in New York, so I'm surrounded by Knicks fans, of course. We're not.
Half the country is now because everybody's suddenly a Knicks fan.
Yeah. Listen, everybody is all of them are saying, listen, well, we're still not afraid of you. And I'm just like, okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Good. I don't want you to be afraid of us. I don't want you to be afraid of us.
It's like Cam Schlittler said, don't care about us. We like it that way.
Yeah. I don't want you to be afraid of us. I don't want you to be mentally disturbed in any way, shape, or form. I want you, when we see you in the playoffs, for you to be at your 100%, both mentally and physically. Because when we finally lay the beat down on you, and what I'm predicting will be 6 games, I want it to be said without any excuse that we beat you at your full capacity.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, listen, the one area that I am concerned about is how this will probably affect Tyrese Maxey, because I think that's going to be the area where it's most affected in terms of shooting. Because LeBron's going to want that ball, and we're going to have a mix. And I don't think it's limited to just LeBron and Tyrese Maxey. I can't tell you why I'm not tremendously worried about it. Why I do think that the strategy with the team, when it comes to Nick Nurse and everybody trying to balance out the workload, is still going to be a positive thing. This is something that Gale I feel like will resolve itself. It'll work itself out. I'm still bathing in the optimism of the fact that we might have one of our most complete teams in years for the Philadelphia 76ers. And to LeBron's health, I mean, listen, he missed the first, I think, 14 games this last season before coming back and still dropping 20 points average a game on sciatica, on an iffy sciatic nerve, and then went on average 26 points in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what he is on the decline, that's Father Time is affecting all of us sitting here as we speak, and to say nothing of superhuman athletes like LeBron James. But if that's what his decline looks like, I'm sorry, I like our odds. And also, let's also not just let the LeBron news get in the way of the fact that the 76ers have improved in places outside of LeBron that they needed to. What was our biggest drawback outside of defense when we went head-to-head and got swept by the Knicks? It's the fact that we did not have as deep a bench as they did. They had a plethora of options on our bench. We shored that up. Mike Gansey's been cooking this.
He has.
If all he did was get Jaylen Brown and we missed out on LeBron, I still would be happy. And by the way, I only started buying into the hype very late. Even when he dropped I started to believe a little bit when he dropped the process line in that press conference. Yeah. But then, I started to think, law of probability. I started to hear the reports that it wasn't going to be Cleveland. And I thought it could be Miami, but I'm just there thinking, I don't know why he would go to Miami right now. I just couldn't. So that I gave a lot of optimism. I don't know if you guys we talked about this in the group chat. I don't know if you guys responded to it. That Knicks story where they basically said, we're not interested in LeBron's services. Yeah. Which doesn't surprise me because the Knicks are a very complete team.
Right.
They don't really need a veteran presence like LeBron James right now because they've already won with who they've got. Who did they just lose? Mitchell Robinson. I mean, good piece of their talent, but it wasn't the end-all and be-all.
No.
Nothing that you need to replace LeBron James with. But I'm also thinking that, they're over the New York media or somebody in Dolan's office is overblowing that, saying, as if to say LeBron was literally begging or peddling the services and they got turned down like a bad date. It's and that to me kind of tips the hand a little bit about what the sentiment is about around the East. Like you don't hear Miami coming with that. You don't hear Cleveland coming with that.
No.
Or Boston or anybody like that. No, it's only, and this is why I have so much angst normally with the New York fan base, the Knicks fan base. It's just they talk when they don't need to be talking.
No.
This is LeBron James not peddling his services to you.
No.
And, you don't have to drop a story like that. So I say all this to say, at the end of the day, we're still a better team. If Joel Embiid is, still injury prone as he was in seasons past, you got another scorer in LeBron James, and then that eliminates the issue of who gets the ball how many times and how many times when.
Right.
I hear a lot of criticisms about the LeBron James move, again, from the Knicks fan base mostly, and I don't hear anything like logistics-wise or play strategy-wise as to why this move would fail us. I don't see it.
No.
So again, I hope not only the Knicks and have a healthy bench throughout the year and into the playoffs when we face them. I want that to be the whole. I want that to be the whole sentiment throughout when it comes to the East and whoever we face if we go to the big dance to get the Larry O'Brien Trophy. The attitude right now in the 76ers locker room just needs to be one thing and one thing only, and that is, what's up, Goliath? I'm Dave.
When you said one thing and one thing only, I had a throwback to watching Inglourious Basterds, which is a great movie. Everyone should see it.
You know what? I wish, at least for my sake in all this, I wish Josh Harris cared as much about the Devils as he does with the Sixers.
I don't know why Josh Harris actually owns a team in Philadelphia. Right now, I'm glad. Because he's the owner of the Commanders. I mean, you remember how mum he was when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and went to the big dance.
He owns the I almost said the Jets. My gosh, he owns the Devils. Everyone owns the Jets. He owns the Devils. He owns the Commanders, and he owns the Sixers. Like that's a weirder mix than my fandoms.
I've
told you about that one friend of mine. I love her. She was one of my work moms, but she's a fan of the Yankees, the Celtics, and the Commanders.
Yeah, you did tell me that, and I still don't understand that.
I love her. I love her to death. So I'm just gonna say, you know what? That's very pragmatic.
I forgot Josh Harris owns he does own a Premier League soccer team. Who the hell does he own? Hold on.
I don't remember. All I know is that I know it's not Newcastle friggin' United.
He owns a spot in the Epstein files. This is a fact.
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't even know how to respond to that.
Yeah, he owns Crystal Palace.
Yeah, Crystal Palace. Okay.
Oh my God, why is he why does he care so much about the Knicks but cares nothing about his other 3 teams? Doesn't even give a crap about any of his other 3 teams. It's insane. I don't understand.
Adam Silver needs to ban him for life, just like he did with Donald Sterling. He needs to do that with Harris and James Dolan, just because I don't like him.
Like, do you know what's crazy? Is like a lot of owners own 2 or 3 teams. He owns 4 of them, and can't win with any of them, and doesn't even. I mean, now he might with Philly, but it's like, why can't you put that effort into all your teams? Like, why is it just Philly? I don't understand. Oh man, I can go on a whole Josh Harris rant. I won't do it tonight. I can't. Everybody knows
You should buy the Dodgers.
Wait, what did he say?
He should buy the Dodgers or the.
Oh, that's what you said. Okay, I thought you said something about Abu Dhabi, and I was so confused.
What? Where do you hear that?
I
could go for an Abu Dhabi trip. I've never been there.
Real quick. We've got a few comments. Sorry, this is a few minutes old, but Cash Brawls OP2 says, "Yeah, I low-key made that low-key. I think it means low-key mad about LeBron." Nikki jumped in and said, "Hey, Scoops and Brandon. Hello, Jay."
Hey, nigga.
Tyler Briggs 55 says no chance the Knicks repeat, like no chance. And then Nikki says Devils ownership doesn't care about hockey. He also owns a Premier League team. Why did I just say it that way? Yeah. Priorities aren't straight. Yeah, I will say this, and y'all know I'm coming at this as a Flyer fan, and I've said it on WTS, but I don't know if I've said it on here. But early returns seem positive in that Sonny Meta era. So,
there's no way it couldn't, given what Tom Fitzgerald did.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the ashes of the Tom Fitzgerald era were not, it didn't set the bar very high apparently. But Brandon, you would know more about that than I would. But the 3 of us are on here. I'd be remiss if I didn't start. Actually, before I get there. Which way am I going? Jay, any last thoughts on that LeBron and Philly thing, or are we going to pivot over to baseball?
We can pivot over to baseball, but I'm just here to say, listen, I'm cautiously optimistic because you always got to be cautious with any Philly team.
I think any team in general makes sense.
Oh yeah, but you know what? The future's looking good. The future's looking bright. If for nothing else, again, what a comeback! I don't want to call it just yet as a comeback because we haven't even played a game yet.
I know what you mean, though.
But what a night and day difference from the Daryl Morey era. Like, this was just, fixture after fixture. I don't know how we did it. I don't even know what to call this. Other than God's blessing, man, because, what were we looking at? Maybe like a 2 or 3 year comeback from whatever we were dealing with Daryl Morey just mass signing superstars that didn't work out.
Brandon knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah, shoot.
And now look at where we are. We're in a place where we've got depth of bounds. If LeBron can't play a couple of games, Dean Wade's also not a bad substitute, not a bad piece. And we were about to rock with him going in before we had the LeBron sweepstakes. And I was okay with that. So a lot more to be, optimistic and happy about. Sixers fans, just take it all in. We haven't been this happy in a while. Let's keep building.
All right. And thank you for that. And coming off of that, again, having the three of us here, first off, I'll wrap that up by saying congratulations, Jay, and the other Sixers fans. Having all of us here tonight, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up a couple of things regarding the trade deadline being in less than a week now, coming up on August 3rd. Yeah, for those who don't get that there, go back to I think it was August 15th last year show. The three of us were on, and that'll make more sense. I don't want to spoil it, but some good lore there for sure. There was a lot of good lore from the time that the three of us were on this together. But
yeah.
But again, so the third, so less than a week coming up, got the trade deadline, and I think we'd all agree on the fact that the needs for New York include a catcher, one other bat, and ideally a reliever.
Yep.
So
and a partridge in the pear tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking at this from this vantage point, I'm going to share some thoughts, and I want to hear what you guys have to say, and then I'm going to get your thoughts on some things. But so we keep hearing, again, the Yankees have gone 11-5 in the last 16. I know one of y'all said it, I don't remember which one it was, but one of y'all said it earlier in the show. It doesn't feel like it, because I look up and down this lineup as currently constructed. I'm not talking about when, guys come back or one thing or another. I look at this lineup as currently constructed, and I ask myself, when New York goes up against whomever in the World Series, I don't care if it's LA, I don't care if it's Milwaukee, I don't care who it is. When they go up against some, and this is not me making an assumption of, they have to get there I understand that. Just hear me out. When they go up against a team like that in the World Series, you're going to have a situation where you're down by one or two, you got multiple in scoring position or ducks on the pond, at least one out, and you got to get the hit, and you can't rely on it being a home run. Even if you can rely on it being a home run, let's not take the home run out of it, but let's just look at it from that vantage point. I look up and down this lineup. Do I want Austin Wells at the plate? No. Do I want Max Schumann at the plate? No. Do I want Ahmed Rosario at the plate? Maybe, but I'm going to lean no.
Right now.
But Ben Rice, do I want at the plate? He's probably the closest that I have to a yes.
Yeah.
Trent Grisham, do I want at the plate? No. And there's too many no's that I go through on that. Like, you got to give me more than just Ben Rice and presumably a healthy Aaron Judge as my yeses. Giancarlo Stanton, unfortunately, normally would be a yes. He's become a no.
I would lean maybe on Paul Goldschmidt. Maybe.
I was gonna say Goldie's a big maybe, but
he's a big maybe, but I'll give him that. The only other possible yes I can think of now, to his credit, now you both know I've been critical of him a lot this year. I do think that there's a case to make for Jazz Chisholm to be either a yes or a strong maybe. And I will give him that because he's impressed me a lot the last month. And the only other one I can think of is Cody Bellinger. But honestly, even most of this season, he's been a no for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just, and it makes me, I start looking at the guys who could be available and realistic this postseason, this trade deadline season. I hate this guy. I don't like him. I haven't liked him for years, even back, multiple teams ago. I heard John Heyman's report that they're in on George Springer, and I think they should do it.
I think so too.
Can't stand him, but he's one of the best postseason hitters of our lifetime.
Yeah. Grew up a Red Sox fan, by the way, so
Don't give a shit. And
Neither do I, so
and quite frankly, you know what? If there's anything that's going to put those who still care about it, if there's anything that's going to put 2017 a nail in that coffin for any fans who are still involved, it's going to be him coming over, and it's going to be him putting it in the coffin for us.
And paying recompense, yeah. And also, CC doesn't care about it any more than I do. So
I mean, I don't care about it anymore neither, but I do know that some fans do. Because at this point, at this point, it's not Houston's fault that New York hasn't won anything in 9 years.
It's really not. By the way, Springer putting up good numbers at age 36 too.
Yeah.
This year, not so much. I mean,
okay.
It's been okay.
Where is he now again? Is it Toronto?
Yeah, he's still in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's the only thing that makes me skeptical. I don't think they trade within the division.
well, see, here's the reason why I'm going to mention that. Just like Baltimore, they make a deceptive amount of trades with Toronto within the division. They made the J-Happ deal at the deadline a few years ago. They made the Brandon Drury deal at a different time than that. And now, again, I know some of these players didn't turn into great things for us, but I'm saying these are deals that they have made.
Mm-hmm.
So, and quite frankly, across the board, in this day and age, I don't think that dealing within the division, unless you're a really old cat, I don't think dealing within the division is something for which teams are as averse as they used to be. I think teams look at it as, if you can give me the best package, I'm willing to take it, and I don't care that I'm sending my guy within the division because I believe in what I'm getting back.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, I'm going to you. One, who do you think? Jody says Jesus Sanchez makes much more sense for the Yankees than Springer. Do you want to respond to that, Brandon?
I mean, see, the biggest problem I have with Jesus Sanchez is the fact, I mean, his WAR is negative. Like to me, it's like, well, once you're like, for me, any kind of guy you could bring in at the deadline, like, I'm not a big WAR guy, but once your WAR dips under like 2, like 1 or 2, at that point I'm just like, I don't see any use for you because you're not going to play the field well. So, like, either that or you're injured or what have you. So, I think that, I mean, hitting wise, I think Jesus Sanchez right now is better than George Springer because he is. He's actually having a better like offensive season, but it's I just, they have so many holes that I'm like, you really can't go wrong with anything that they grab outside of catcher for another hitter at this deadline to me. I just don't want it to be like some sort of like a quote unquote band-aid thing where you're getting like instead of getting like I'm not asking them to get every single best option on the market because it's just not possible. But like if we're not getting the second or at least third best option on the market, then I'm like, I don't care about what we get at that point. Like, it's like I just don't care because it's not going to move the needle. It's not going to help us win a World Series.
Well, here's the issue though, is that if you get that get that to fill one need, you're not going to get that to fill the other need. Like you're not going to get, even if you talk in top 2 or 3, you're not. If you've got 3 or 4 different needs as we delineated, you're not going to get that at each one. Especially you don't have Pittsburgh's or Boston's or whoever farm system. You just don't.
Yeah.
I like our farm system, but you just don't have that. Even if you're making everybody available but George Lombard, which I agree with that approach.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing that, and even if you've got guys at the major league level that teams won't, even if you've got guys on the trade block like Jason Dominguez, even if you have guys on the trade block like a Spencer Jones, you got guys on the trade block like Will Warren, like a Ryan Weathers, like a Camilo Doval, and you've got teams like the Pittsburghs of the world who believe that they can revive Camilo Doval, who has, to put it mildly, not had a great season for New York. Jody asking, do you want Skubal?
Want
That's exactly what I was going to say. One, obviously, yes. Do I think it's a need more than a luxury? No. And I think that when you're talking about finite resources, you have to talk about the needs before the luxuries. And like, for example, similarly, I look at Mason Miller. Now that may be more of a hybrid need and luxury because, again, the bullpen could use more juice. I don't think it, again, does it necessarily need a Mason Miller? Like I don't necessarily look at it in that regard, but it needs something, and Mason Miller does qualify as that something. So that would be like, and I think that ability to shorten games a little bit, because he's the closest thing I think we can say at this point, he's the closest thing we've seen to Mo since Mo.
Yeah.
And looking at it from that vantage point, I think it allows you to shoot a little bit lower on guy, which you'd have to at that point because of the amount that you'd give up. Allows you to shoot a little bit lower at what you get as an outfielder or what you get in terms of offense as a catcher.
Like, you know what I'm thinking of in my mind, like when it comes to this deadline. I mean, I know everybody, every Yankee fan, out there has that wish list of, oh, I want Hunter Goodman and Mason Miller. I'm like, you're not getting either one of them. It's just, get that out of your mind. Like, it's
no,
just,
that's the, as much as I love this season, that's the one thing I friggin' hate about it is I can't watch another damn trade proposal where we're giving up basically the equivalent of the lint on Trent Grissom's shoe for Ryan Jeffers.
It just shows the amount of people that don't understand how professional sports work and how trading works.
They think that because we're the Yankees, we can override everything, and I'm like, this isn't a video game.
Yeah, like that's what's annoying me is like people don't understand. Mason Miller is going to cost more than what the Padres gave up for him.
Yeah.
So
and this is a business, so they know we're desperate.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to give up Lombard, then you're saying goodbye to Jones, Dominguez, probably one of Ben Hess or Carlos Legrand. If not both, on and on. Now, we may be as fans willing to do that, but
right.
But also look at the roster. Like they have nobody to play the outfield. So if you're going to tell Jones and Dominguez goodbye, who's playing the outfield? The Holy Ghost? Because
that might work.
I'm glad Jody asked this because I have surprisingly strong feelings about this. So thoughts on Sagano. I said this offseason, and I spent more time on it than anybody would have thought that I would or that I probably should have. Sagano to Colorado was probably one of the worst fits imaginable, and I don't understand what possessed his agent to lead him in that direction. I don't care if that was the only major league offer you got. Take a AAA contract. Yeah. Because why are you, as a fly ball pitcher, going to Colorado where they can't develop pitching and where your numbers for the next year are going to just completely inflate?
One of two teams, by the way, that has never had a Cy Young Award winner.
I wonder why.
I mean, what the closest they got was what? Ubaldo Jimenez or what the hell is the other guy's name? I think Kyle Freeland was like borderline close. I like that. I like that question from Jody. Does depending
a lot. It absolutely does. But I'll say this: what it affects more for me is who I'm willing to, not just who I'm willing to get. It affects who I'm willing to give up, and what I mean by that is it makes me more willing to give up certain players because at some point these pre-arbs and not knowing what we're going to get with how much money guys are going to be getting, how many arbitration years, how many years of control when it comes to free agency. I'm more willing to move off certain young guys this year because of that. Some teams may play it more conservatively. I'm not. I'm playing it the opposite.
Yeah, you got to be aggressive because you also.
I'll say of like our farm system right now for me in my head, there's no one who's untouchable.
The only untouchable that I'm making, I am making Carlos. I am making George Lombard untouchable.
Yeah.
That is the only untouchable. And the reason I'm making him untouchable is because, quite frankly, I think he's a major league player within 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm willing to say he's untouchable yet, man. Because
Do you need to keep watching Volpe at short?
No,
Or Cabby?
I really don't. Okay, point well taken. So yes, he is in effect untouchable. But the only reason that makes me skeptical of saying that he's untouchable is that we thought that Volpe was going to be what we think he is going to be right now.
But here's the thing. Plenty of people knew that Volpe was not a long-term major league shortstop. That was in his scouting report. George Lombard has repeatedly been said that he's a better shortstop long-term than Volpe ever was.
I've heard for the last 2 years that Lombard has the makings of Bobby Witt Jr. all over again. That's what I've been hearing.
And that's the only reason I'm not prospect hugging is that I have seen right now Lombard in this conversation being the exception. I have seen what we have done with our prospects, and it's a big thing that we still need to change about our minor league development system, is that they're all getting trained to be the next Aaron Judge. Here is the problem. Aaron Judge is a generational talent for the very reason, as the name suggests, he comes along once in a generation. That was the
problem I had with drafting Spencer Jones.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say Spencer Jones' name, and Scoop, you called it from early. It's just that, again, we all fell, not us, but, people fell in love. Oh, it's another 6'7" outfielder who could potentially play first even, and he's hitting the crap out of the ball. Is he hitting the crap out of the ball right now, Spencer Jones? No, he's not. Lombard, I do, for all the reason you gentlemen are suggesting, I do have a little bit more faith in. So anybody else, I'm not, gonna say is glued to the table for us. But also, not just, even if I were still of the sentiment that we could definitely move Lombard, for what we need right now and I still believe we are in a win now mentality. We should be.
I do too. You need to be as long as Aaron Judge is still Aaron Judge, because you don't want to become the Anaheim Angels and have a generational future Hall of Famer and do nothing with it in October, because second that because that would be as just generational failure of that, if not of higher proportions, because the expectations are higher when you're the Yankees.
And honestly, it's
wasting a right-handed Barry Bonds. Basically,
and the thing is, what's sad is it's a reality, because not winning in 24, and now with the lockout next year, by the time we get back to regularly scheduled Yankees programming and Aaron Judge, he's going to be 9,000 years old. So it's like,
and I heard for the first time this year, or really for the first time this whole situation, and I waited to hear from it from a second person before I said it on this show, but this is now something I've heard from two people. There is concern that we will not get a baseball game next year.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, I'm starting to reconcile myself with the possibility. I don't believe at the end of the day, though, we will have a 94 type of lockout, because, we are in a different place than when we were in 1994. We live in a different world
than we did 21 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, I love draft day reference. I got you. We have the Aaron Judges. We have the Shohei Ohtanis. We still fundamentally have a Mike Trout. We have all the great superstars that we might have had in 94, but we did not have the exposure to them that we do now. And we didn't really, I don't know if we could really say that we had the minus steroids, that we had the talent that we did now. So I don't think, and right now, baseball is sitting atop in terms of viewership, or if not at the top, close to the top of the big four. I think Manfred, in his savvy, is not about to flush that all down the drain over.
I don't think so neither. But it's him it's 30 owners
And the unions.
and the players union. And I'll say this.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I think the cheap as
Jay,
they want to make money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is, Jay, you know that I am a respecter of the players union and the union leadership over there.
Mhm.
If this thing goes on to the point where we actually start missing games, missing actual games to the point where they can't be remade up, then that is, I don't care what the ultimate deal looks like, that is a failure on the part of the commissioner, that's a failure on the part of the owners, and it's a failure on the part of the union. There is no excuse at that point. At that point, everyone's ass is in the pot. Because
Their
To-
asses are in the jackpot.
yeah. Jody says, I'm 99.9% sure we get zero baseball next year, and that blows because we just had an awesome World Series and baseball was building. The union will never go for a cap. I
think even the union knows they're going to have to.
Yeah, I think what I think it's going to end up coming down to is,
What the
first of all, it's going to have to be a, what's the word I'm looking for? Not prorated. What's the word? It's going to have to develop slowly. Like, you're not going to just say, yeah, in 2027, you're not going to have a deal that says in 2028 the cap is, 190 million. Realistically, you're not going to do that because you've already got 7 teams committed above that. So it's going to have to be kind of grandfathered in, I think, over the course of a little bit of time. That I'm sure is going to come with concessions about how much team control there is for players before they hit free agency for the first time. It's so all these things are going to be kind of playing off of one another. And Jody says the floor is going to be the bigger hurdle, and I couldn't agree with him more because that is necessary. Yeah. And quite honestly, and I'm glad Jody brought this up. If anybody believed that you need to have a big budget to be successful in Major League Baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers,
Right now the Rays.
Right now the Rays. I mean, they just went to the World Series a few years ago. I think that was during the COVID shortened year, but it still happened.
Yeah.
The White Sox, who notoriously don't like spending a lot of money. I mean, these teams. I mean, hell, even the Pirates, who came out of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, because there were people like myself who thought they could take a step this year, but these teams are pissing on that narrative because they are showing that it's not just about spending money, it's about development, it's about knowing where to spend money and how to spend money. It's prioritization and it's allocation and of your resources. Because I'll keep looking at the Brewers. The Brewers literally let go of Corbin Burnes. And people, myself included, are like, what the are you doing? They are better without their ace pitcher. And they found another one in Jacob Mizorowski. Mm-hmm. That's not supposed to happen. And it didn't happen because they paid him a bunch of money.
Yeah, but you know what? The problem is a lot of baseball fans, and remember we talk about tradition and old school in this game. A lot of fans are so old school and they still believe this is the 80s and 90s and that the Yankees and then the old Atlanta Braves, they're like, oh yeah, we're developing guys at such a fast rate. We're spending all this money to build a monster baseball team. It's like the only team that's really doing that is the Dodgers. That's
it is. Even the Mets. I mean, you can look at the flip side and say that, just because you have a lot of money, it doesn't mean you can just, buy your way to victory. Look at the Mets. Because the Mets have gotten no better since Steve Cohen took over.
Let's not forget, almost only works with horseshoes and hand grenades. And, this is not me trying to defend the Dodgers. The Dodgers almost didn't win the World Series.
Yeah.
If not for Rojas, we're talking about the Blue Jays. What
important stats did I tell you guys that the Blue Jays were right next to the Dodgers in last year in terms of money? Percent of revenue spent on your players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not just about how much gross revenue you're making. It's about where you're allocating that money.
I mean, because the simple fact that is like, since we're talking about the Mets, look at what the Mets did. You brought in Bo Bichette, but you also brought him in and you stuck on a position that he's never played before for no reason.
Ian Desmond did his ass.
You know, and they didn't just do it to him; they did it to Jorge Polanco.
Yeah,
And then on top of that, even before this all started, they made a whole trade with the Rangers to send Brandon Nimmo to Texas for 95-year-old Marcus Semien. Like, please tell
run
me.
prevention. Like, how's that working out?
Yeah, so you trade away the cornerstone of your franchise.
I didn't.
Like, I don't understand.
Yes, the other team is preventing you from scoring runs.
It was such a microcosm. It was perhaps the most Mets thing ever.
Yeah.
When they signed Bo Bichette, and y'all know where I'm going with this. He had his press conference. Mid press conference, he asked his agent, "Is this are we opting out after 1 year, or are we here for the full 2 years?" Are you freaking kidding me?
I wouldn't do that.
All that money and you don't have PR training in your organization. Friggin', what's his name? Rob loves to talk about how the Yankees have crappy PR training. Yeah. That was 10 times worse than anything you've seen with the Yankees.
That was awful.
Pedro will tell you never do something like that out in the open. You never.
I assume you're talking about Pedro Martinez?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know who Pedro was.
Yeah, my buddy Pedro from down the block. That no one's ever met.
Go for Pedro.
See, he said Pedro. That's who I thought he was talking about.
Yeah, I remember that line in Napoleon Dynamite.
Damn right.
Yeah, and I haven't even seen Napoleon Dynamite, so the fact that I thought of that is crazy.
It's just It's just Nick Foles.
We got a hi coming in from a new face down here on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so I'm going to give you guys some names really quick of guys who are rumored to be on the trade block for us, and we can just rapid fire this. Would you hold on to them? Would you get rid of them? So, all right. So the first one, I think I know what this answer is going to be, and I'm sure it's going to be the same for all of us. But I have to ask just to be clear. Will Warren, Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, get off my team.
Yeah,
get off.
Yeah. Jay, do I even need to?
I don't know who you get for him, but I'm sure somebody out there seems.
I don't care if it's a sack of baseball.
He's still a young major. You guys got to remember, there's 14 teams that are not going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
there are teams that will take a flyer on a young major league ready pitcher who
could be their two.
They're 2 or they're 3. At least as somebody who can competently eat innings, and there are there are teams who play in more pitcher-friendly ballparks than New York does. That means that his homer production will go down. So,
yeah,
I know that we all get headaches from watching him sometimes, but there is still a market for Will Warren.
Yeah.
And in fact, Minnesota, if Ryan Jeffers' deal happens as we are increasingly expecting it to, I think that's a team to watch for a Will Warren trade.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Yeah.
Next, the kind of someone who's been the bane of the existence of a lot of fans this year, but I think that tonight actually didn't play all that badly. Camilo Doval.
Yeah, I would say, even though he's pitched better lately, listen, just get your stock up. Goodbye.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm not putting my stock into who I like to call the Pavano Award front runners right now.
I think of it from the standpoint of a sort of a spin on a few years ago what happened when we traded Jordan Montgomery for Harrison Bader. I think of it as, would I want you pitching or playing in a game in October? And I would not for Camilo Doval. Next guy, Ryan Weathers. Brandon.
I know that a lot of fans like to look at the just numbers that are in your face to prove that Will Warren's better than him, even though when you just watch the games, he's not. But I mean, you need to keep somebody as your 5. So I'm like, It depends what you get for him, but I've said it all year. I would like him to be a long reliever. So I think that I would keep him, but I'm gonna say a light keep because has he struggled as a starter? Yeah. Can he give you a 6 inning 1 run ball type of game? Yes, he can. He's done it this season. But can he also in October come out of the pen and give you 2 straight shutout innings? He absolutely can. So it's a light keep for me. I mean, but it would depend on if his name came up in a deal, who would it be for? That's how I would kind of look at it.
That's pretty much where I'm at. I'm keeping him unless I have a significant reason not to. Like, I'm not actively shopping him, but if I can see a significant upgrade that requires me to move him, I'm willing to. But on a strict keep or go, I'm keeping him.
Yeah.
Jay.
Yeah, I tend to agree as the more that we talk about it. Again, I'm not encouraged by what I see by Ryan Weathers right now, but in all honesty, if the better place for him, again, after Rodon comes back, which hopefully we get Rodon back, is like
we haven't even talked about him yet.
Yeah, we could listen. There are far worse places that that we could be in than having Ryan Weathers in our pen. I don't want him to be an inhibition to a good deal that could put us over the top. And as a matter of fact, I don't think we'll have that sort of a situation.
No,
I'd be more hesitant. Again, he is not untouchable, obviously, because that'd be insane. But I would be a lot more reserved in terms of trading him than I would be Will Warren.
Agreed for sure. Jody says, should the Yankees trade Goldschmidt? No. I see him as one. You've got a good backup first baseman and a good sort of late game defensive guy. He's a better defensive first baseman than Ben Rice. So if you're going to playing run prevention late, then I think that's a good thing to have. He's he might be your biggest in terms of veteran, in terms of just most experienced.
Veteran presence on the team, I was going to say.
Yeah, and I also think that's going to happen. Like, keep in mind, guys that we're going to call up later in the year, presumably guys like George Lombard. He's not only a veteran presence for him, but he's a veteran infielder. So I'm not saying that matters a ton, but I think it matters.
Yeah.
So, and also, I don't know if you deliberately spelled it that way, but if you did, then holy crap. But no, I'm not trading. He's kind of similar to Ryan Weathers for me insofar as I would say, if I am given a significant reason to, I'd consider it. But he's, of the guys we've discussed, he's by far the most likely I'd be willing to move.
And you know what it is too is like when you get to October, Ben Rice is your starter, but if having
I can see matchups where, not to use Boone's favorite word of matchups, but I can see matchups or lanes where I bring him in off the bench.
Yeah, and the thing is that he also, I mean, he can produce off the bench. He can produce anywhere you put him. So I would, as we get down the stretch, I could see a world in where Ben Rice they're ramping him up for the postseason, so they're giving him more, the bulk of the starts down the stretch of the last 2 months. So I would still keep him. And honestly, he's been believe it or not, he's been one of our best hitters this year. So
I'd also add this: the team right now is trying to make itself and has been trying to make itself more right-handed. To give away a right-handed hitter, unless we got one back for him, I think would just cut against everything they're trying to do. If you're giving up a good defending right-handed hitter, you're giving away something that you need more of.
Mm-hmm.
So we did Doval, we did Devers. Wow. We did Doval, we did Weathers, is what I meant to say. We snuck Goldschmidt in there. We did Warren. There was one other one that I was going to. I was going to get to the as they would say in my favorite movie, the two Utes. So Jason Dominguez, Brandon.
No, I would keep him. Maybe because unless I'm blown away by who we could get for him.
Yeah.
Dominguez with the bat in the last couple weeks has come on strong, really strong, and he is getting better in the field. I mean, he has a couple misplays here and there, but nothing that would be egregious. So, I think that he's getting better in the field. He also has a cannon for an arm. That he has a very underrated arm.
Yep.
And I think that if he's going to hit the way he is right now, you have to keep him. And the thing is, too, he's also speed. By giving him away, your only speed guy, your only true speed guy on the roster would be Jazz. So,
I mean, Jose and Volpe, I think both have that.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking just in terms of who can actually hit at this point. And
okay, yeah.
And Volpe and Cabby are just not doing it consistently enough to they're not putting themselves.
I'm not arguing for trading Dominguez by saying that. I'm just responding to that one point.
And the thing is, I like Dominguez's ability where, because he's being a switch hitter, you can bring him into any situation, also pinch hitter if you need to. So
he's been better hitting from his not natural side recently, which is hilarious.
And the thing is, the thing is, you can just see in his at bats, he's getting more and more confident. He's not swinging at crap as much like he was early on.
Yeah,
you can see the maturation process with each game. So it's, I would keep him. I think he's too important right now. And people got to forget, he's not 24, 25, 26 years old. He's 22, or I think 23. So it's
23. Well, that was going to be the point that I was going to make. Is I'm turning 26 next week. This guy's turning 24 in February.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a February guy. All right, maybe I do want to get down.
Wait, your birthday is February 9th, right? 8th. Okay, so he's the day before you.
I'm 10 days after you. So.
But no, I'm not a believer in trading Dominguez. I've got a longer leash on him than I do on Volpe. And I've talked about the fact that I have a little bit of rope with Volpe, which is, I think that some people think it's longer than it is. But Dominguez, I'm giving every friggin' shot. And quite honestly, if that arm continues to get strong, I'm not sure if this is their intent, but I wonder if as they start to have to shift Judge to playing more DH, presumably when they let go of Stanton, I'm wondering if their belief is they'll have Dominguez as their right fielder.
Yeah.
I'm increasingly starting to wonder that because they don't really have a right fielder that they're developing in the minors who has any sort of real showing of being an everyday major league player. Now that could change because Judge is not, he's not the longest in the tooth, but after he comes off this injury, I'm sure, and especially as they phase out Stanton, I'm sure you see him play more DH to keep that bat in the lineup and to give him, increasing levels of rest, at least in terms of just on his body physically. And right now, the one who makes the most sense to me to put in right field is Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm not of the names that we're going to talk about today. He's the one I'm least willing to move. Yeah. And it's for reasons that don't even include, I haven't even gotten to them yet, the fact that he's got the highest upside of all of them. Which does factor in, but I mean, I had all those reasons and I hadn't even gotten to that yet. Jay, where are you on El Marciano?
Oh,
The Martian.
I would say, again, I would have to hear a really good offer, and what we're trading for would have to be proportionate. I don't know that I am trading him for Ryan Jeffers.
I'm not.
No.
I feel like that would be way too disproportionate.
Spencer Jones, I might, but
I would do Jones,
but not Dominguez.
But once and this is where me and fandom kind of branches off. Is I think we need to take a step back, look at the lay of the land, and say, all right, for the things that we need, that is bullpen, catcher, and an extra arm. Do you really need to trade your entire future for that? And your entire good present.
Exactly.
That's where I'm at.
Jason provides.
like there's a major difference, and I hope Yankees fans tune in and hear this because I strongly believe this. There's a big difference between being willing to trade anybody and actually trading anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I will have discussions on anybody on this team except for Lombard in terms of minor leaguers and young players.
Yeah.
I am not going to trade somebody for below their value either.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to trade a top prospect for a C-level player.
Or for a half a season rental. Like even like say we could
No.
get Skubal. Like right now, my only motivation to get Tarek Skubal is so that the Dodgers don't get him. Which that's not good enough for a roster move, obviously.
I would put an offer on the table for Tariq Skubal.
I would do.
It is not including Jason Dominguez
Mm-hmm.
Or George Lombard.
Yeah. And if they demand either one of those two guys, I'm telling Tariq we'll speak in November.
Yeah.
Or whenever the friggin' lockout ends.
Yeah.
I acknowledge the fact that New York has seen about one or two guys who had the level of the hype pan out that way over the last 15 years. And spoiler alert, most teams can say that too.
Yes.
As far as the top guys actually reaching the way that they were hyped at their 99th percentile.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 99th percentile.
Torkelson.
Sorry?
Oh, look at Casey Mize and Spencer Torkelson. They were the hyped ones for
Hell, look at Jackson Holiday. He's on the trade block now in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Or Adley Rutschman.
Yeah.
I'm still in on him.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I talked about Ryan Jeffers. I'd still rather have Adley Rutschman.
I'd still be on Adley Rutschman. The ideal guy I actually was going for, but unfortunately now he's had season-ending surgery.
Shea Langoliers,
man. Yeah, I would have wanted to have him, but
I would have wanted to have him. I'm still salty about the fact that the Nomadic Athletics seem to fold us in every single trade that we make somehow.
Yeah.
Except for Sonny Gray, because really nobody won that deal. We didn't win that deal, and they didn't really win either. I mean, when's the last time anybody's heard the names Jorge Mateo, James Caprillion, or Dustin Fowler? I'd say Jorge Mateo has worked out the best of them, but it was for Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yes, you know what stinks too is like, I just wanted the hype of somebody like a Shea Langoliers because everybody talks about Hunter Goodman, right, and how great he is offensively, but Shea Langoliers is having just a great offensive season as him, and no one's talking about him, and like that's why I'm like, if he was healthy, him and Adley Rutschman would have been my two guys.
And also,
Adley Rutschman's still my guy because. Again, I know that we disagree on, the fact that I would be happy with a defense first catcher, and I know Brandon, you wouldn't. But which makes me at least willing to hear on a guy like a Luis Torrens from the Mets, depending on what else we get. I want to emphasize that. But like you're talking about. Like some of these names I'm hearing bandied about, like one of them was, I just sent him to you today, Ivan Herrera, and I didn't hate it at first, and then I looked more into his defensive metrics. Hell no,
and he's not, and primarily at this point, he's more primarily a DH than he is a catcher. So it's like, then it's like, where do you put him at that point? Because you got Stanton back, you're gonna have Judge back. The Judge isn't gonna go back to right field right away. So
no, and I'm sure Cody Bellinger is gonna get some time at DH.
Yeah, so you're not gonna have a spot for him anyway. So if all he's gonna do is be a useless defensive catcher, even though he hits, it's like there's other guys who hit better than him, who play better,
who can actually play in the field.
Yeah.
Outside of catching, I think there's one other. Outside of catching and bullpen, I think, there's one other place that, we could target. And this is one player that, has come up in conversations. That's Jung-Hoo Lee in San Francisco.
I have not heard that name come up once. But that's
I've heard it
interesting.
come up like twice. I
Okay.
would not. I don't think I would say no to that because remember, not only do we have to cover our catching or in our bullpen, we need to cover the hole that's being left right now, of course, by Judge, Bellinger, and Stanton. So,
Right.
especially Stanton, because Judge and Bellinger will be back, but
Right.
A, who knows when, and B, you still need a bat
Yeah.
that can conceivably step.
And
in.
that's why normally I understand it, and I've defended it at times. But that's why this year I can't do and don't want to hear the whole, well, our guys who are coming off the IL are better than anything else we could have gotten.
Yeah,
Because here's the problem with that.
They're not by father time.
Well, what I was gonna say is, I can deal with that if it's like the week or so after the deadline. You'll be lucky at this point if you see Judge before the end of August. And I don't even know the timeline on Bellinger right now. They said 4 to 6 weeks, which would put him potentially not until after roster's already expanded to 28 players in September. So
To me, I'm operating this deadline as if Judge, Stan, and Belly are all first or second week of September.
you and me both.
I was saying mid-September for all of them.
Yeah, hell, I would
Which-
mid-September. Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you're just dickering over whether you expect to see them again at all the regular season. Because even if you're literally physically getting their bodies back the second week of September, you know it's going to take a little bit of runway.
It's going to take Stanton at least a month to get back into a groove. Yeah.
Right. So I'm operating this as I need these players tomorrow, and I need them through the end of the season.
Yeah.
And
Especially with a weak AL, knowing that you are literally, even with this roster being the way it is right now, you're still having a great last 2 weeks of success. Winning all these games. So it's like if you literally just have a good deadline, you can show that hey, we're serious about running through this AL and getting back to a World Series. That's the whole thing. So it's like. It's quite literally, to use a very tired phrase, it's right there,
right in front of us.
Like when you look at the American League, who the hell is going? Like we've said this before for the 1,000th time in a row, who is going to challenge the Yankees outside of the Rays? Not a damn soul.
No.
So, so if you want to beat you have to operate this like two things. Does this help us beat the Rays? I mean, because that's your only competition in the AL,
right?
And does this get us? Do the moves we make now, is that going to get us at least two of the World Series?
I'll be quite honest with you. If you ask me today, do I think the Yankees make the World Series? I know it didn't look like it tonight. I still think the answer is a good chance that the answer is yes, because I think that we match up that well against the rest of the American League. Now, here's the problem. I don't give a damn about getting to the World Series. And what I mean by that is I care about winning the damn World Series. Yeah. So I care about, yes, we have to match up well against the teams that get us there first, but I think that our sights need to be higher than that.
Yeah.
And whether it's the Dodgers, whether it's the Brewers, whether it's the Phillies, I don't care who it is. You're playing right now like a team that I think is in well positioned, and hear me on this. I think you're playing right now like a team that's well positioned to lose the World Series.
Yeah.
I think you're playing like a team that very much is in position to get there, but I think you lose in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To either of those teams, Milwaukee or the Dodgers, and that's right now. That's my NL's championship series.
And don't let this fool you too. Like they should have won tonight, so they should have won the first 3 games of the series. But when you look at this too, between the last 24 hours, the Yankees didn't score at all after the first inning last night, or whatever inning it was that they scored those 3 runs. They didn't score at all last night. They almost lost that game in the 9th. So 1-3-2, you won a nail biter. It all became a nail biter. And then tonight, you were up 4-0, and once again, you didn't score again off of a pitcher that you were hitting just fine in the first 2 innings. So and so the Yankees and Cashman and Steinbrenner, the family, everybody and Aaron Boone, we all see this going on, that this team cannot continue to get runs after they have a big outburst. Whether it's a big outburst in one game or whether it's a big outburst in one inning and then the rest of the game they're just god awful at bats one after another. So what needs to they've known since, forget the last month. They've known since basically, I would say, the last week of April, first week of May, what they've needed on this roster. They've known, because that's when we started hearing about the catching market. And
I mean, Ryan Jeffers is almost. I'm not going quite this far, but close. He almost is becoming. You guys remember about 18 years ago with Cliff Lee, where it was like he always felt like he had one foot in the Yankee uniform for months.
Yeah.
That's basically how this feels with Ryan Jeffers right now. Like, I'm at the point where I don't have a call sheet, but if I had a call sheet, I'm almost at the point where, like, I'd be more willing to allocate resources on whether or not, on a positive as to whether or not we get him than not. I think it's getting to that point.
Yeah.
Now, again, not my first choice, but helps the lineup and, presumably is more of a net positive on offense than he would be a net negative on defense.
And defensively, he hasn't really been that bad this year. So, like,
no, but I still can't help but think that whatever you already are, New York is going to magnify. So I'm not rapid, and he could, but I'm not expecting him to become a better defender by going to New York.
No, the thing is, I also just trust. I trust our starting pitching enough to where I'm like, are they going to get wild on him and spike a bunch of pitches in the dirt and make his defense become an issue? Like, I don't think so. I trust the starting pitching enough to be locked down the rest of the season. So, like, I think as long as we can get to a point where, if I'm looking now, I want to look at the pitching for a second, because we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but I feel like but we know that the bullpen thing is an issue. Even though the bullpen statistically right now is the best bullpen in baseball, but that's being carried by 3 or 4 guys. The other half of them are not good at all. So, like, don't get me wrong. I love the guys that we are, because a lot of Yankee fans seem to be torn on this bullpen because of the 4 guys that are doing well, but the other 4 aren't. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's where I'm at.
It's like, so I'm like I understand that, but you can't rely on the same 4 guys every single game for the next 2.5 months to try to get to and win a World Series. It can't happen that way.
Nope.
So you need a bullpen arm. So to me, you need 2, but the way you remedy one is you have it sitting in the minors right now on Giovanni Cruz. Bring him back up.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Carlos Legrand, actually. But
no, I think right now Cruz is the more. I think it's the
ready.
I think he's ready, and we've already seen. We haven't seen much out of him, but what we've seen out of him has been encouraging when he's been up. So, I think that he's had a little taste of it of the show, and I think that just judging off everything I know about him, I trust him right now a little more than Legrand, but. I remember Legrand, they're still in the process of transitioning him into the bullpen.
He also just got healthy again. That's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and that too. So Cruz to me has to come up. It's not even just will he? No, he has to come up. If you don't get another bullpen arm, he has to come up, because it can't be, because you're gonna probably say goodbye to Doval. Jake Bird I don't care what love affair they have with Jake Bird. He cannot be pitching on this team the next 3 months. It can't happen. So I don't care what they feel about him. He cannot be on this roster in the next 3 months. For the next 3 months. So I said it even when he came over last season, I didn't want him here because he's garbage. So I just don't. I feel like Cruz has to come up, but the only thing is what bullpen arm could you guys realistically see? Because we know it's not going to be Mason Miller. Mason Miller's in our dreams. It's like we'd have to blow up the entire farm system just to get him, and I don't think that's going to help us with all the other needs that we have hitting wise.
Especially since Mason Miller could, God forbid, obviously, but could be very well teeing himself up for Tommy John.
Yeah, that's a very real. People don't, your arm's not meant to be, to be snapping off that kind of heat consistently forever. So, like, it's one of those things where, as much as everybody, like, you also gotta remember too, a lot of Yankee fans look at this and like, oh, go get Mason Miller. I'm like, you do realize he's not just the best closer in baseball, he's the best reliever in baseball and has been the last 2 or 3 years. And on top of that, is quite literally on par with some of the, like we said, the Moes of the world, the Trevor Hoffman way back when, like, that kind of stuff. So it's like, you do realize other teams want him, right? And other teams are probably going to have a better package for him than even we do. Like, so it's like, people have to realize Mason Miller.
To answer, sorry.
Like Mason Miller is like, I've told our Yankees chat this with the TCA guys. I'm like, you guys do realize Mason Miller is not going to happen, right? I would almost bet the house that Mason Miller does not come to the Yankees because of what they'd have to give up for him and what it would do. Like, Mason Miller does, by just getting him at the deadline, does not get you to a World Series when you already have, and I don't care how this rubs people the wrong way, you have an elite closer in David Bednar. So I don't understand why people want Mason Miller so bad when that would also mess with Bednar's natural groove of going out there in the 9th inning or late in the 8th to get a 4-out save or a regular save or what have you. So I wouldn't want to relegate Bednar to the 8th inning when he's been proving for the last 21 appearances that he is a phenomenal closer. So I don't want the Mason Miller thing. To me is just there's a lot of obstacles. It's just a pipe dream to me. But like, I don't know, so if it's not Mason Miller, basically to get back to the question I was going to ask you this, who do you guys realistically see adding to that bullpen at the deadline that would make that difference?
I'll give you 2 names.
Okay.
First one, he's one of my favorite relievers in baseball, maybe my favorite reliever in baseball. He's one of only 4 relievers that have not allowed a homer this year, at least in terms of qualifying players. He's on a team that I think is going to move off some guys. We talked a little bit about another player earlier that they potentially could move off. I know he's in the division. I don't care. We've gotten relievers in division before. Tyler Rogers.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it at all. I like
Tyler Rogers makes way too much sense. The Yankees like their sort of funky release point type guys. They have Tim Hill. They did Darren O'Day in the past, coincidentally an in-division trade himself. They've had guys like, if you go back far enough, guys that I used to really like Cody Epley and Clay Rapata, which I know are like deep cuts, but I still remember them because I really liked them. I think that he makes a ton of sense. Another one, because there's been a lot of rumors coming up about New York potentially making a deal with Miami. Calvin Fauché, I think, makes a lot of sense there. He's a similar guy with high ground ball rate, not giving up a lot of homers. He actually is another one who hasn't given up a homer this year. Now, he doesn't have a lot of strikeout ability, and neither does Tyler Rogers for obvious reasons, but he doesn't have like the highest strikeout rate in the world, but he does it enough. And his run prevention this year hasn't been, optimal. But at the same time, I think that he is somebody who could benefit from a change of scenery. I think he's got Mike Blake. Matt Blake reclamation project written all over him. So those are my 2 guys that I would go after. I'd go after Tyler Rogers and I'd go after Calvin Fauché.
Makes sense.
Jay, go ahead.
No, I just said makes sense.
No, I know, but he asked both of us.
Oh, sorry. What was the question again?
A reliever that we'd go after that doesn't include Mason Miller.
Oof.
Even though I don't consider Mason Miller as much of a pipe dream as Brandon does, but I do agree with it not necessarily being considered, at the top of the bell curve of realism right now.
Yeah.
Well, my natural front runner is the guy we had on our team before, and the guy who
Luke Weaver.
Dreamweaver, man. Luke
Yeah.
Weaver.
Sorry, I don't want to get us whatever it's called.
He would be the ideal one. I wish we had so not a reliever here, but like if we were ever concerned about like moving off of Weathers, but still needed a 5 guy. Talk about a reunion, and he's supposed to be like in the middle of rehabbing right now, and I'm wondering how up to trading him the Texas Rangers would be. Bring back Jordan Montgomery. And we all knew. Remember, we went back in 22 when we traded him. We thought the biggest thing we would hear about him is that in the postseason he'd be an innings eater, which he turned out to be so much more, of course, for the Texas Rangers. So I mean, that's an outlandish one. It's not going to happen. But
I forgot he went back to Texas. To be honest with you,
I always liked Montgomery. I always did.
I liked Montgomery too. Yeah.
You'd never get me to say a bad word about Jordan Montgomery for sure.
Wow! Real quick, I just went back to look. Not only did I not remember he was on the Rangers this year, I sure as shucks did not remember he was on the Brewers last year.
Barely.
Oh my God!
He got traded to the Brewers, but he was under surgery.
Yeah.
And he's coming off of second Tommy John.
That was always the tough thing with Montgomery. Even going back to his younger days as a Yankee was the health. It was always the health with him.
Yeah, well, when you talked about his injury, I actually thought you were going to say Jonathan Loaizaga.
Oh God.
When you led into it with talking about the health, that's where my mind went.
Yeah. I totally get that. I've thought about it, but
I wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying that's where I thought you were going.
You know what guy I wanted for a long time, even though I know he's not coming here, obviously, and there's no rumors about him like that. But just a guy that I've wanted for like the last 2 years was
Please don't say Rafi Devers.
No, I'm still thinking bullpen.
Oh.
Was Cade Smith, but
yeah.
I always liked him, even though I know he's not coming here. But it's like he was always the guy. I'm like, damn, I wish the Yankees had him.
You know what's funny? So you know how there's that whole thing in sports where you got like, I want this player, and it's like, oh, we have that player at home. The Yankees do actually have a top prospect named Cade Smith.
That's actually weird to think about that.
It's funny.
Yeah, but like I would be fine with a Tyler Rogers. I mean, that's the one thing that just does scare me though is, I feel like that bullpen needs a strikeout guy if you're gonna add to it. I mean, Cruz could probably be that because Cruz has the stuff for it. But I just don't know, man. Like, I don't trust this defense. If you get a ground ball, like even if it's a good reliever, if you get a ground ball guy, I don't trust. I mean, the team will look a little bit different depending on who you get, also hitting wise and to play the field. But I don't trust that defense to be fielding ground balls.
That's fair.
Unless it's Ryan McMahon. So, like, I mean, even tonight, look at the freaking play he made in the extra innings, where he just that smooth kind of like, get on one knee to his left and got up and fired to first. I'm like, that was phenomenal. Like that's the Ryan Weathers that's the Ryan McMahon I know. So
here's the top 10 guys. Here's the top 10 relievers right now in terms of strikeout rate. Mason Miller, Jeff Hoffman, not sure he'd move. Andres Munoz, not sure he'd move.
Probably wouldn't.
Mason Montgomery
could move, but
Mason Montgomery not happening. Yohan Duran would be shocked. Grant Taylor definitely not moving with the way that the White Sox have played. Alex Vezina, forget it.
Yeah. Ryan
Zefirjan, possibly, but trading for a guy from the Angels as a pitcher scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Cade Smith, as we just discussed, and our old friend Devin Williams.
Oh God.
No, thank you.
Well, it's good.
Yeah, Yohan Duran ain't leaving Philadelphia unless.
No, the only one on there that. Sorry.
Unless they want to riot in Philadelphia.
Yeah, the only one on that list that makes any sort, not only that makes sense to me, but that seems any sort of realistic to me would potentially be Ryan Zeferjon, and I don't know that I'd do that.
You know what it is too? Like, what blows my mind was like, back when Bednar was struggling, everybody's like, "Oh, we need a new closer." I'm like, who the hell do you think is going to be available at the
Well, that's what
deadline?
we talked about.
Like-
Cade Smith wasn't going nowhere, and at the
Yeah.
time, neither was Mason Miller.
Yeah, Cade Smith, Mason Miller, Johan Duran, like these guys are not going anywhere. Like,
Hot take. At the time, at least, I would have still taken Bednar over Duran.
yeah, I mean, because like
Potential
people-
Not now, maybe. Now I could be talked into it, but at the time when it was actually possible, if it was even possible at all, I wouldn't have taken Duran over Bednar.
I'll drop this name, and I have to go pretty soon. But why not Kyle Finnegan? Like I think he's been putting up some good numbers. He's 2-0, 2.94 ERA. We wanted him last year, I think. Like
Here, let me pull.
I heard his name floating around. Yeah, that sounds
he would be the Detroit pitcher I'd be targeting. Obviously.
No, I know what you mean.
Target Scooble like that.
Here's the problem that I have there.
What's that?
He's walking almost 5 guys per 9 innings.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
He strikes-
never mind. I withdraw.
Yeah,
He strikes out barely 7 per 9 innings, and he doesn't have a low enough home run rate for me to justify that.
You're absolutely correct.
so you're just a ticking time bomb.
There's peripherally there's very much I don't like. There's a lot I don't like about him. I think that he, to me, is a classic example of somebody who we think we're capitalizing on, and he comes over to New York and implodes.
Could be. Yeah, it's such a tough market right now when you realize that any guy you could get, especially that's why also the Yankee fans have to understand this, because we basically do is like look at that top 10 that you mentioned for strikeout guys and things like that. They're 9 out of those 10 guys, or at least 8 out of those 10 guys are not moving.
Not moving. Well,
So
let's come back to a basic truth here that I think gets overlooked too much. If somebody's not available, they're not available for a reason, and if somebody is available, they are available for a reason.
yeah.
Like, we're not going to go and steal somebody from a contending team just because we want them. Like, that's not how baseball or sports work.
It's the same thing with everybody gushing over Hunter Goodman because he's such a great hitter. I'm like, yeah, but defensively he's awful right now, and not just that, but like
And I'm sorry, I can't watch another below average defensive catcher in New York after what I sat through with Gary Sanchez. I'm sorry.
Thank you. That's what I said. I even said this to other Yankee fans, and hell, even to our own group chat. I said, you do realize that has Gary Sanchez written all over it, right? Like, I'm like, listen, he could hit 30, 40 home runs. That's fine. But if he's gonna cost,
will he
you
though?
2 runs a game-
Like I know he can still hit away from Coors Field, but you have to assume some of those power numbers are going to regress leaving Coors.
Yeah. It's like, and I don't know. And I remember this too. The Rockies have said this 1,000 times. They will not move him unless they are blown away by what they get.
If I'm going to blow away a team, it's the Orioles for Adley Rutschman, or I could be talked into Ryan Jeffers.
Yeah, that's right now. That's my 2 because
Same. And and again, I'll say it one more time. I'm content with a guy like a Torrens or a Stevenson or a whomever you want to talk about as like definitely defense first, but it depends on the bat that I also am getting, because whatever I'm not getting by not bringing in a 2-way catcher, I need to make up for somewhere. So where else am I getting that?
Because Adley
So
Rutschman is the best 2-way catcher on the market. So it's like,
which is why that's where I would go, because you've heard me say it a million times. 2 positions in particular that I need, and I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of offense for defense, and that's why I would say Rutschman over Jeffers for me. But it's catcher and shortstop.
Yeah.
Right now, we ain't getting shit at either position.
Yeah.
So virtually anything is going to feel like an upgrade at least, even though it's not literally virtually anything going to be an upgrade. At least in the case at shortstop with Anthony Volpe, it very well may be with Austin Wells, unfortunately. But like to me, catcher is more important than shortstop right now.
Yeah.
Even though I know they're looking at both. But like if we can come away with this, with one of those two, anywhere above average relief pitcher, and just a bat of that's where I would accept like a Tyrone Taylor type. Because realistically, I'm sorry, just 3 all-star players is not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah.
And I think anybody who's expecting that is gonna be let down, not just because of it's Cashman or it's just by the laws of reality and the laws of business markets. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, right now, like let's look at right now what Spot Track has like, because I've also thought about this too. If Lombard comes up, you're not going to need the shortstop. So
yeah, which is why I'm really not paying attention to it as much as some other people are.
So
because I fully expect him to be the guy.
But then look at what there is out there, right? For let's say third base, because McMahon is not giving you a lot hitting wise. So
no, and Rosario is the complete polar opposite in terms of
it's just flipped. So like, because third base is what we've heard a lot of too, but Devers, no, because Devers is good offensively, but he can't field.
I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole just based off the fact that based off his personality.
You know, so he's out there, and then same thing.
Again, for a reason, not to hold you up, but this guy was extended to a big deal, and now 2 of the top 6 market teams are moving off of him within a year each. Does that not send off a red flag to people?
Yeah, because people are just blinded by back go Burr, you know. So it's like, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
You know, so then it's funny. Right after him, another guy, all bat, no glove, Eugenio Suarez, same thing.
No, thank you. There's 2 different times we could have had him, and we didn't get him for a reason. Don't want him now.
Yeah. Then after that, you go down to Alec Bohm. What the hell does Alec Bohm do well?
Not a lot.
Exactly.
He's like the classic example of
that game I went to, but you know,
he's like the classic example of I don't think he does anything terribly, even though I don't think he's a great fielder, but he doesn't do anything well enough to make up for it.
Then you've got, and I'll save the 2 guys to me that are more in play than anybody else right now. So I'll skip these next 2 names, so we'll circle back to them real quick. But Nolan Gorman, no, because God, he can't hit, and then the WAR is even in the negatives, so you know that the hitting and the fielding, there's nothing really there.
Okay, then he's having a worse year this year than I thought. I was thinking off of his like full history, but I guess this year not a good play.
And then you've got, I mean, I haven't heard his name, but apparently he is on the market. I've heard it. I think I've heard it in passing. Mark Vientos, but he's not hitting well this year, and he really can't field either. So he's out there.
Again, for a reason.
Yeah. Then you have who I wouldn't hate it necessarily, but he's been hurt this year, Matt Shaw.
I wouldn't hate that.
I wouldn't hate it. And then the other 2 names I've heard a lot of because they're still in their prime. They're both having pretty good seasons. And that's Josh Young.
Not to make this a thing, is Matt Shaw the one who created a consternation by going to that funeral last year?
Was he?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I don't think so. Then you have Josh Young. So you have him. I like him. I mean, I like him hitting wise. He's a good hitter, a really good hitter actually. And then to me, like he kind of checks off all the boxes, fielding and hitting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but the thing is, the Rangers are going to probably, and the Rangers are still also in the thick of a a playoff chase.
Yeah,
So,
they that probably was something that came up like if the bottom fell out in Texas, but it hasn't.
yeah, so I don't think he's out there like people think he is anymore. He was at one point, but that was like 3 weeks ago. That's not now.
I mean, shit, we don't even know that Jeffers is actually going to fully move because there's rumors right now that if Minnesota doesn't, hit the skids the next few days, there's reports that they're still going to buy.
Yeah,
and if you're still going to buy, what the hell are you trading Jeffers for? I get they have Caratini, but if you're still going to buy, then then you can definitely bet that at least one of Jones or Dominguez and probably someone like a Will Warren or Ryan Weathers would be in that trade because that they're going to be competing this year.
Yeah, and then to me you've got. I mean, then this is the only other option on the list, obviously, but with Houston climbing back into the thick of things, Isaac Paredes, he's not going anywhere. So
no, that's the guy that I would have wanted at one point, but it's just like you said, I
could still see at least in the realm of possibility, I could still see Josh Jung, but
possibly, but it's.
But I think if they're because people keep saying, "Oh, Devers," I'm like, well, first of all, no, he can't field.
He smells like, and I'm talking about Young. He smells like the classic example of somebody that you're going to have to pay 105 on the dollar for.
Yeah, like that.
And he's a good player, but to me, he's not pay above his value. He's not overpay good.
So it's like when I tell people, or like when people are like, oh, we have to find a replacement for McMahon. I'm like, who are you putting out there?
Right.
Yeah. Because there's nobody there. So there's nobody.
The closest thing that you'll get to that, I think, is just calling up Lombard and putting him at third. And if I'm calling up Lombard, I'm rather keeping him at short.
I'm putting him at short. So it's like people.
The closest I can come up with, and they'll never do this, if they wanted to improve on McMahon, is taking Jazz, putting him back to third where we originally had him, putting Volpe at second, and Lombard at short. They'll never do this in a million years, but if I want to improve on McMahon holistically, that's what I'm doing.
That's basically that. That's your only option. Because I'm like, because people are like, oh, well, because once again, people are attracted to names. So they see that Devers is out there. It's like, yeah, you know why Devers is out there for the second time in 6 months? Is because he can't field. His attitude sucks. He's always been able to hit, but he can't field, and his attitude sucks.
And where is he playing now? Probably the worst hitting ballpark in baseball at AT&T Stadium or whatever the hell it's called now.
Oracle Park.
Oracle Park.
Oracle Park, yeah.
Yep. On that note, gents, I must be taking my leave of y'all.
Yeah, you know what? I think we'll just conclude in the next second here. But Jay, thanks again so much, and congrats again. And we'll see you soon. Hopefully, not long after the trade deadline, we can have you back on and discuss whatever happened.
Yes, sir.
Good night, brother.
All right. Thanks, man.
Peace.
All right. Bye.
So I mean, listen, we could beat this whole baseball thing to death, but it's like, we know catcher is the big fish here. So it's like,
I would say it's even bigger than bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, I mean, because it's like at least in the bullpen you're getting a production out of some guys, and at third you're getting the production from McMahon defensively. Maybe not as much as you were late last season, but you're still getting it. Even tonight, I mean, he saved a game-winning run up until Alex Sanchez threw the game away. But so you're getting that run production there.
Hang on. Jeff Passan just put out breaking news. It's not confirmed yet where, but Tarek Skubal will be traded and has made his last start for the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, we kind of figured.
I don't know. I was so back and forth on that.
Yeah.
JC Weaver says, hope y'all having a great night. JC, hope you're doing the same. Thank you, brother.
Sir. I kind of figured as we got the last, not even this start, the last few starts, I'm like, it's looking more and more like he's leaving. Like
I
I'm
kept going so back and forth on that, and I'll just say this to people: whatever you think he's getting traded for, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be less. I don't think he's gonna get moved for the heaven and earth package that some people are saying. Like I saw people say that this is the one occurrence where I think the Yankees fans are crazy with what they think that we should be giving up, and in fact that I think it's too much.
Yeah.
Like I saw one deal that had like Elmer Rodriguez and George Lombard and like Spencer Jones. Like
Yeah.
I saw one deal that had. I'm like, for 2 months you're not getting that.
No.
There's no team in baseball that is going to, and I don't think Texas. Wow, I am just butchering these tonight. I don't think Detroit's asking for that, or
No.
if they're asking for it, I don't think they're expecting that realistically. Is what I mean.
Yeah.
Now let me be clear. I don't think Skubal goes to the Yankees,
No.
but I think that they can do better than some other teams can in terms of a package because of the fact that it's so close to the deadline now that I think that they sometimes waiting close to the deadline can increase your earning potential. I think it's the opposite here. I think that the Tigers have really shot themselves in the foot here.
Yeah.
So I think that again, back to law of markets. I don't think that they're going to get what people expect. Some people expect them to get.
Yeah.
But as we look to wrap up here, I'll ask you this question. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'll ask you again. Hearing this now from Jeff Passan, next start from Tarik Skubal occurs for what team?
I mean, is it tough? I know I like using that phrase a lot, but it really is true for this case, especially.
For you, everything's tough, and for Rob, everything's stupid. We have a very, very, very predictable cast here.
Well, I did say that if anybody could use him, or if any team could use starting pitching at the deadline as a whole, maybe the Philadelphia Phillies. I still think that that's in play. I mean, you want to say the Dodgers because the Dodgers just seem to get everybody.
No, that's not my pick.
Yeah, but exactly.
I'm actually going to stick with my original pick. I think the Chicago Cubs.
I could see that too. I'm just going to stick in the NL, but I'm not saying Dodgers. I'm just going to stick with the Phillies. I still think that's a possibility. I still think and listen, they need some sort of boost because right now, they are just in a slog since the All-Star break. They are looking pretty bad right now. They could use that kind of pick me up that it would be, and especially for a rental, just to get them back on track. If you can bring in a Tarik Skubal to add to that rotation, that's great for them. You'll start seeing some after effects of that, some ripple effects out the clubhouse because of that. So I think the Phillies are very much in play. And I don't know why more people aren't kind of talking about that, because to me, it's not the Dodgers or the Yankees. It's the Dodgers and Yankees don't need more starting pitching. They don't. It's teams like the ones that are chasing them right now that do. So, and the thing is, like we said, the Rays don't need it because the Rays are just fine with their pitching staff right now. So when you take basically the three front runners for the World Series right now out of it, which were hell, I mean, you could say maybe the Braves, but I think the Phillies need it more. So I think the Phillies are more desperate to bring in, a real, at least reliable starting pitcher, if not an elite one. So if you can go out there and get a Tarik Skubal, I think that's phenomenal. So I still think that he'd be my pick to go to Philly.
And I don't think you're going to need a top farm system to get him.
Exactly.
But I also don't know that Atlanta has enough to outbid other teams.
Yeah, and that's like, I just saw that. To me, it's like when you start just doing process of elimination, the only two teams that would make sense, like at least more than all the others, would be the
Yeah.
two we both mentioned. Would be the Cubs and Phillies.
Right.
So, like, it's I don't see anything wrong with either one of those. That would be massive. So
I don't think so either. And I think that also because that's what the Cubs are going to be pushing for is starting pitching. The main thing that you're going to need to potentially either catch up on the Brewers
Yep.
or to be able to, mano a mano them in October is starting pitching. So if you can make that happen with the best available one, because you're done building for the future, I think. I think your window to win is now if you're Chicago.
yeah,
And I think you've operated like that with moves that they've made recently. So,
oh, there it goes.
so seeing all that, I think that he makes the most sense. And you just, post 2026, be damned.
Yeah, I mean, because we like we've been saying the whole show, there's no guarantee for baseball next year. Now it's looking increasingly likely there isn't going to be any baseball. So, I mean, this deadline, has been quiet, obviously, because these moves are not going to get made until the last 48 hours.
Right. But we also had been saying, at least I had, about the fact that because I think people didn't realize how much this mattered, or some people didn't realize how much this mattered, and I think it mattered more than some realized, is because the deadline is August 3rd this year, not July 31st or August 1st, that changes the calculus of when things happen.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, and I definitely think that we're gearing up for a very big weekend here. To me, like between what a few of these teams need to put them over the edge or to get them back on track to get them to be a contender in the postseason. So I think we're going to see a lot of names start coming off and in big ways. So
yeah, I think that
fireworks.
I mean honestly, it could be as soon as tomorrow. Because I think that what day is the 3rd? Is that Monday?
It's Monday. Monday at 6.
Yeah. So I think that obviously I think most happens between Saturday and Monday, but I think tomorrow is really
The start.
the start when you could start seeing some of these things, or at least things getting close. Like, quite honestly, I think a lot of deals that are going to happen are probably already pretty close. It's just going to, it's that final little needle moving. But with that, what else you got before we wrap up here?
Not too much. I will say though, even though I know for everybody listening or for those who are now asleep, because I know we've talked about it for a long time, we beat baseball to death tonight, but it's a very important weekend ahead for baseball, so we kind of had to. But I will say just before because I don't want people to forget about it, NFL training camp started this week. So, it's just fun to see kind of football back on our TV screens again, even if it's a couple, shots and a couple workouts and drills here and there. It's just good to see baseball. Jesus, it's good to see football back on our
We
screen.
keep doing this.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't have any excuse because I had a coffee and a Diet Pepsi.
Because we've been talking about baseball for the last hour and a half. So it's like, it's been, a lot. So, I know we were baseball heavy tonight, but it's just good to see football back on our screens. It's good to see, like Malik Neighbors for the Giants. He's back in action. Like, he looks healthy. So, hoping he stays healthy there. I was encouraged by what we saw from our training camp on day one, the first real day today, with some definitely looking like we're going to be running a West Coast offense. And I like that for once. Yeah, I know. I know. But at the same time.
But you know what? And this is what I always say. Give me an offense I don't like but wins than an offense that I love that gets me to 9-8.
Yeah, and the thing is too, I don't think it's going to be a full-on West Coast offense. I think we're going to marry the West Coast offense with our run-heavy style.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be like that traditional, Niners Rams stuff we see. I think it's going to be more of
as my grandfather liked to call it, dink and dunk.
Yeah, I think Sean Mannion is going to be, and the thing is, so far it's been creative. I mean, from what I've heard from so
I
far.
love what I'm hearing from the players say, and everyone's saying like, "Oh, this isn't like anything I've done before," or one thing, which is great. Like I enjoy the fact that we're hearing that these players are acknowledging, "Oh, this is different," but we've got positive things to say about it.
Yeah,
Like you can kind of just tell, even if they don't come out and say it, you can kind of tell like with what they are or are not saying and their sort of like body language and whatnot. Like I'm really rocking with this or I'm really not rocking with this.
yeah.
And guys like not just Jalen, but Saquon and their offensive linemen are like, I love what I'm hearing about the offensive linemen saying, which is important to me because of how cumbersome that was last year.
I've also never seen Jalen as happy as he's been. And he's entering year 7 already, if you can believe that. 6 years as a starter.
God, I feel old after now you just said that.
I've never seen Jalen happier in preseason. So in training camp. So I mean, it's good to see that for a change. But it just, even the body language. I remember the body language last training camp for us being so like, even if they were trying to gas it up to make it sound good, you could just see that you could tell it wasn't right immediately. And and then it just got worse as the preseason went on, eventually into the season. This year it does feel different. This year feels like a breath of fresh air. So
it does. And it's, man, the stuff that I was reading and seeing the last day or two, yeah. I'm fired up. I'm fired up for sure. And I
love it. I love the fact that, I mean, when Lane Johnson comes out and actually says that he's happy that the way this offense is being run is a lot easier on the linemen, that also just means one thing too. They're going to
it'll flow a lot better.
They should be healthier too.
Yeah, it means it'll flow a lot better too, because obviously the flow of the offense was one of the biggest problems last year, and the fact that it didn't exist, there was none.
And the best part was when I heard that basically that the first play from practice today was a toss play to Saquon, and they had it was a big jumbo package where they had all their best blockers in there, and I'm like, I would love to see that used in the regular season, because last year watching Grant Calcaterra block, I wanted to literally just gouge my eyes out. Because I'm like, you literally have statistically the worst blocker in the NFL on every run play. Why? No. It just didn't make any sense. This feels different this year. I mean, and it's funny, even just the look of the guys. This is the first year where I'm looking at all the guys coming back for camp. They all look like they're shredded, in shape. They look faster. They look more athletic. I'm like, I saw some of the workout video. And listen, we can sit there and be like, oh yeah, it's a Ben Simmons smoke and mirrors thing. Oh, look at Ben Simmons and shoot around looking great in preseason, and in the summer. It's like, okay, yeah, it's one thing, but I've never seen Jalen look this good because in previous years he was either too skinny but he was fast, or he was a little bit chunkier and built but slower. This one looks like he's finally the best version of himself.
Yeah, like the sort of the happy medium.
Where he's got the weight, but he looks explosive. So I'm like, okay, I like that a lot. I like the fact that Devontae Smith put on muscle this offseason, even though he didn't have to, but he did. And he looks just a little bit more explosive. I like the fact that Jalen Carter's coming into camp in shape. I like that Jordan Davis is still coming into camp in shape. I love the fact that, Mailata and Lane Johnson are glowing when they're speaking about the offense. It just feels like, I'm not going to say this feels like 2022 or 2024 vibes where you could tell the vibes were through the roof high, where it was like, okay, like this team just feels super fun every week. But this definitely feels way closer to that than anything from 23 or last season.
Right.
So I like the fact that we're in this good direction. It feels like this positive direction for once, minus the positivity rabbit. But it's good that it just seems this seems like it's going to be a fun season. I'm like, hell, I was even fired up even back when we forget what the offense looked like, when Fangio even said that there was false reports that he was going to retire, that he actually wants to be here for another couple of years. even.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, that's fun. So I was like, I mean, but that's what he told us originally. But people were like, oh, well, he's only got one more year left. I'm like, well, he didn't say that himself. Where are you hearing that? Like, and then we kind of just assumed that was fact. But then when he came out and said in the first press conference for when he came back, he was like, I don't know who told you that, but he's like, I'm here for the next like 3-4 years, handful of years. So like that's it. So everything is just leading in a positive direction, and I love the fact that at least with the NFL in general, that we can see training camp start up again. I know the Patriots just started their camp.
Yes.
They've already got some controversy in camp between kind of May.
Oh,
And
I mean, we'd have to do that another show to cover that shit.
yeah, but so there is some news and notes. There is some kind of housekeeping things to address next show. But it's great to see football back again.
Yeah. We'll cover that tomorrow night.
Yeah, for some reason, this just feels like we've been waiting a lot longer for football, and I guess that's because the World Cup thing started later. So I feel like that. So like even though it only set things back by about 3-4 weeks, it feels like we've been waiting for like forever. So
I mean, also, let's just be completely frank about it. Our season ended a lot earlier than it usually does.
Well, that too, yeah, and how
Aloha, Mr. Wiltsey, and of course we had it on earlier, but go get you some of that sweet Hawaiian Coffee Company, Lion Coffee, and of course all of their other sweet deals. Use code Patrick10, HawaiiCoffeeCompany.com/C/coffee. I had some of it just yesterday, and it is chef's kiss.
I like that. That's a good way to end the show. A little bit of a plug.
It is. With that, it's almost 2 a.m. where you and I are, so yeah. I'm gonna go wrap up the evening and start getting ready for later this week. But I'll see you, and I don't know about Rob because I know he's got some spider webs to deal with. But for those who are watching, there's a Spider-Man movie, I guess, coming out on Friday or something.
It's coming out later today, actually.
Okay. I thought movies typically came out on Friday.
They do, but I think for this they're doing it like a day early. And also just because there's demand for it. So
anyway, so if you don't see Rob tonight, blame Spider-Man basically. But you and I will be on tonight to talk about all this stuff that we didn't cover tonight, which is crazy to believe that there's that much when we've been on for over 2 hours. But you've got any final words? If not, we'll shoot this thing down.
No, I will also be watching Spider-Man at some point the next couple weeks, so I will be going myself. So
ooh, fun.
I don't miss that. He's my favorite superhero, so I don't miss those movies. But
fun.
That, Rob and I will talk about that when he gets back from his viewing experience, and of course when I get through with mine. So look for that in the next couple of weeks for us to do a show that kind of has that sprinkled in the mix. But for now, I think we're good. We can get out of here for the night.
Sounds fun to me. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. Thanks to everyone who tuned in, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. I don't know what Patrick is saying here, but y'all have a good night. And oh God, not that again. I gotta shave this thing off. Oh my God. Oh,
listen. We're in the middle of a postseason push for baseball, so keep the stash. It's a postseason stash.
Yeah. Well. It's just I would love to hear if more people say that, except for asking me if I grew up in the 70s. But until then, we'll see y'all tomorrow for What's the Scoop at the normal